Let us know when you go live.
We
Live
live.
now.
Okay. Thank everyone for tuning in to another informative video here on the Information Age. Today, we are bringing you guys a heated debate. Were the Tainos savages or civilized? We have my brother Yashar, the general, and my brother Ratchet Craig, the backcheck Jew. And we're going to let these brothers get it in. I'm turning it over to my sister Denise so we can get this show on the road.
Hi. Sorry, guys. Okay. So right now we're gonna have both of our debaters, Ratchet Craig and General Yashar. The layout for the debate today is gonna be 2 5-minute intro. I mean, they're gonna have an intro. They're both gonna have an intro for 5 minutes, and then 2 15-minute rounds, and then there's gonna be 3 questions each, and then we're going to go to our judging panel to judge the debate. Do you want to introduce the judges now or later? We can do it later. Okay. So, who's going to go first, Ratchet Craig or General Yashar?
Let's let General Yashar go first. He's more
Yashar,
entertaining. Let's let Yashar
what
go
you want to
first.
do?
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right, let me know when I can start.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, family. Commander General Yashar, tanks on the ground, motivated focus. First off, I'd like to give a shout out and all praises and honor to my power, y'all, in the name of my high priest, y'all Shah. Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right, cool, cool. All right. So my premise, right, of this debate is to show and prove through history, archaeology, agriculture, and language and script that the Taino speaking people, right, were a civilized people, right? And so what I like to do is I like to give a couple of definitions, right, to get some understanding on a few terms that we're going to be using in this debate. For example, civilized, meaning characteristics of a state of civilization, right? And an example of that would be a civilized society. That's what we have right now, right? What they have in the Caribbean, right? What they have in different places all over the world, right? So let's get into understanding what civilization is, right? Definition of civilization is relatively high level of cultural and technological development, which we're going to show and prove in this debate. the culture characteristics of a particular time or place. We also going to show and prove in that, right? We're going to show and prove through that characteristic of a particular time and place through history, right, and archaeology. Okay, so just to make sure that you guys understand where I'm coming from and how I'm coming, right? The process of becoming civilized. So it was a state of coming from one state to another state, right? So we're going to understand what that looked like according to the Taino speaking people that we're going to be addressing today, right? So let's look at the word savage. And all of these definitions are coming from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. So you can go check it out and get an understanding, right? The definition of savage, noun wise, old fashioned, offensive, a person belonging to a primitive society, all right? A brutal person, a rude or unmannerly person, right? Now, the verb of savage would be to attack and to treat brutally. So this brother is going to have to show all these examples of these people in this particular society. Now, I want to see what this brother has to say about this and what he has to show, right? Eponymous is a very key word that will be explained in this debate. Eponymous, the definition of eponymous is of relating to or constituting an eponymy, named after something else or deriving from an existing name or word. So we're going to see how the conquistadors and even some researchers and archaeologists use eponymy, right? Eponymy to name the so-called Taino speaking people. And I'm going to show that. The last definition of eponymous is relating to an eponymy, giving one's name to a tribe, right? Which the conquistadors did to this people called the so-called Tainos. People, country, and the like, right? So with that being said, family, I'm going to close out here and let's get to it. Shalom.
Okay, Ratchet Craig, your intro. I'm ready when you start.
All right. Turn my camera on. Yasha, this is you right here. This is you right here, bro. The source, baby. This is you. I'm doing this especially for you right now. But anyway, let me share my screen right quick. Let me share it. I'm gonna go eat. Don't worry about it. All right, as you can see, let me go eat. This me. I'm gonna give a little backstory right quick. This debate, came about. We was arguing in the bar, me and Yashar. And then, Chris Harris on that we argued back and forth about the time, Chris Harris, the one who got us this debate, he set it up, and this is how it happened, right? But anyway, let me go on to my first slide. My premise is gonna be basically me in the back chat, Craig, the Tainos are savagery based off no agriculture, no writing system until the arrival of Europeans in Africa. Yashar said they had a agriculture writing system before the arrival of the Europeans and the African slaves, which make them civilized. Both of us go provide extra evidence to establish our claims, right? Uh, Basically, the position of the debate topic, based off the writing system with the extra evidence, source claim will determine whether savagery or civilized people. The source claims, what we had to provide the evidence for. Creed, savagery, no agriculture, no rights system. Yashar, civilized, yes agriculture, yes rights system. My methodology I'm gonna use today is anthropology, the scientific study of humanity concerned with human behaviors, human biology, culture, society, In linguistics, archaeology, the scientific study of human activity, the recovery and analysis of material culture. Ethnographic, the method of analyzing social and cultural interactions. It often participates in observation through ethnographias, may also draw from text written by the participants of the social interaction, right? The people who came upon there. Ethnohistory, the study of indigenous people, uh, custom by examining. I got people all them hit me up. Historically records as well as other sources and information on their lives and history, right? These are the people observe, who could care for 'em. But since they don't got the right system, somebody else got the right for 'em. So let me go to the next slide. All right. Key definitions and concepts. Savagery. My definition of savagery is chiefly in historical literature or literature context. The condition of being primitive or uncivilized. Oxford Language Dictionary. Civilized, bringing a place of people to a stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced. Let me get that again. Savagery, the condition of being primitive and uncivilized. Civilized, bringing a place of people to a stage of social or cultural development considered to be advanced. A writing system, right? We're gonna be talking about writing system. One of the main things we talking about. Technicality refer to a script or orthographia consisting of a set of visible marks. Forms and structure called characters or graph that are related to some structures in the linguistic system. That's from the Encyclopedia Britannica. Agriculture, the art or science of cultivating the ground, including harvesting or crops, and the rearing or management of livestock, tillage, husbandry, farming. They're from Encyclopedia Britannica. How long I got?
5 seconds.
5 seconds. All right, I ain't gonna even get to that. I'm good. I yield the flow.
All right. Okay. I'll just bring your screen real quick. Okay, so Yashar, we're ready for your first 15 minutes. You share your screen, I'll put it on.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I'll start when you start.
Is it big enough and clear enough for everyone to see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's get it. Let me know when I can start.
I'm ready.
Were the loco ono solidoid who spoke the Taino Arawak language a civilized people or a savage people, right? And like I said earlier in my opening, this is the definition of civilized from the Merriam Dictionary, right? Here's the definition of civilization from the Merriam, right? You see the source at the bottom, right? Again, we see savage, noun and a verb, source Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Again, eponymous. This key, this word right here is very key, right? Because we're talking about a title or a name given to a people, right? Given to one's people that's not actually the name and tribe of the people, as I just showed you in the beginning of the debate. Loco Ono, and I'm gonna show you this is what they called themselves. They didn't call themselves Tainos after their language that they spoke. So let's get into the history. A branch of knowledge that records and explains the past events, right? What was the original name, title of the so-called Taino Indians? Etymology, right? This is from the Arawak. This is from the actual language dictionary of the local Ono people. So let's see what they have to say about themselves. The Arawak is a tribal name in reference to the main crop, food. That's not a name, right? That you named them, or that it was actually a person. It's the name of one of their crops, which is called the cassava root, commonly known as manioc. The cassava root is a popular staple for millions of people in South America, Asia, and Africa. It is a woody shrub grown in tropical and subtropical regions. Speakers of the Arawak also identify themselves as Loco Ono, which translate as the people. They call their language Loco Ono Diane, the people's speech. So this right here shows you that they actually have a language, and that language also had a script. And we're going to show you that throughout the debate. In the 20th century, scholars such as Irving Rouse began using the older term Taino. So that means that they had another name before they started using this term Taino for the Caribbean people to distinguish them from mainlanders. So this is the example, right, of them actually using eponymy. You understand? This is why I brought the definition out so you can understand and see when eponymy is used. As you can see right here, using the older term Taino for the Caribbean people to distinguish them, right? Instead of calling them by their name. The mainland Arawak called themselves Loco Ono, also spelled Loco Ono with a C, Loco Omo with an M. This has become more common in the scholarly literature since the late 20th century. Source: Olson James Stewart, The Indians of Central and South America, and Ethno-Historical Dictionary, page 29. Right? Let's keep going. The autochthonous title of the so-called Taino people: Solidoid and Ostanoid people, not Taino Arawak. Right? Most researchers agree that the cultural ancestry of the Tainos can be traced to the Arawakan-speaking people living along the Orinoco River in South America. At about 1000 BC, these people known to archaeologists. So now here we go again, right? Archaeologists giving them another name. And this name is called Solidoid. This is why you see the title, the name in the title, instead of just calling them after the language. We're living in a large settled town, cultivated manioc. Again, here we go with the cultivation. Agriculture, family. But the brothers say that there's no agriculture to be found amongst these brothers and these people. So let's continue to read. What else did they produce? Corn, and made elaborate painting pottery. It is thought that they migrated into the Caribbean, reaching as far as eastern Hispaniola by about 250 BC, carrying and counting their traditions of agriculture. I'm going to read that again. It is thought that they migrated into the Caribbean, reaching as far as eastern Hispaniola by about 250 BC, carrying and continuing their traditions of agriculture and pottery, making as well as productions of elaborate carved stone and shell pendants and figures thought to have had ritual significance. So we see here, family, that this was not a savage people. Here's another name that the archaeologists have found them to have as they progressed, as they became more wiser in their understanding, in their living. Because why? They families start to become bigger. Their society starts to become bigger. So the things that they used to do when they was a small society, they can't do that anymore because they have to sustain a bigger society and those who come in trade, right? Let's continue. After about 250 BC, the Solidoid people appear to have greatly diminished their geographic expansion and by about 600 AD appear to have developed instead a new style of cultural expression. Here we go, right? This is what you call civilized. This is what you call a person's progression or a society's progression from one state to the next, right? It says local conditions and populations. This new tradition is known archaeologically as osteonoid. So now we have an understanding of what they call their transition from one stage to the next. They called it the osteonoid, which is what they also called the same people that you call Taino today. Let's continue. We know what Columbus' intentions were for the people that he found here on the islands because of what he himself wrote in his journals. The eminent Cuban, Loco Ono Saladoid Taino scholar Jose Barrero tells us that Columbus noted how well-formed, muscular the Loco Ono Saladoid Taino speaking men and women were, with no bellies and good teeth. Last time I checked, savages, when I see them, they got the fat bellies, the rotten teeth from eating all type of God knows what. Yeah, that's what savage people look like. They even got like shark-looking teeth, like animal-looking teeth. But I guess that's what he's going to show us concerning the Taino people, when actually the person who encountered them tells us that they were well taken care of. They took care of themselves very well. He noted, too, what good servants they would make, reminding King Ferdinand that slavery has been justified historically many times. The source, you can find this information by Jose Barrero from Northeast Indian Quarterly, page 66 through 77, right? Let's move on. For the most part, however, a formidable mountain of archival evidence has been presented by the apologist Christopher Columbus, which appears to indicate that the real cruelty which was inflicted upon the Loco Ono, Saladoid Taino speaking Indians, came not so much from the actions of Columbus himself, but rather from those who came after him, greedy Spanish colonists, who betrayed Columbus' original noble intentions to treat the Indians with compassion. Much of this evidence arises in the writings of important chroniclers such as Raymond Payne, as we're going to see some of his information as I present, Columbus' son Hernando, and Bartolome de la Casa, right? Those are the other sources that you can find where you can see where Columbus was actually dealing with them with compassion. One might make a statement that that's not true concerning the Loco Ono Saladoid Taino Arawak people by saying they were cannibals with no solid nor real evidence to support and back their claim. What I will be presenting to you today is a clear understanding of the possible cannibals that Columbus mentioned by name of the actual tribes that carried themselves as savage tribes. This tribe was known as the Cannibal. This tribe was known as the Cannibal tribe, and later the Caribs tribe. Thus, this is where they get the Caribbean, the Caribbeans from. This is not the Taino Arawak people, as we will read together. Next slide. According to Columbus, a tribe of invading cannibal warriors, aka the Cannibal, right, repeatedly beset his crew and indigenous communities, which include the Arawak Taino-speaking Loco Ono people, fam. Repeatedly beset his crew and the indigenous communities of the Bahamas when he landed there in 1492. While there's no evidence they were cannibals, the Cannibal were a real group of Caribs. The group of people from northwest Amazon region are known to have colonized several Caribbean islands, beginning around the year 800 AD. By archaeological evidence suggests they never made it as far north as the Bahamas, where Columbus claimed to have encountered them. So now are the ones that he actually encountered, because they never made it to the Bahamas, right? So let's continue to keep reading. Loco Ono Saladoid Taino culture expressed itself most strongly on the island of the Great Antilles, including Boricua, Puerto Rico, Quisqueya, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica. However, their presence is also found in the Lesser Antilles. Ancient local Ono, Saladoid, Taino speaking Indians were very skillful in making textiles, pottery, sculptures from wood and stone. While they did not have metal tools, they did make alloys of gold, adornment. Gold was associated with the sun, leadership, and status. This type of rich history show and prove that the local Ono, Saladoid, Taino, Arawak people were not the savage, but a civilized people with a rich heritage. Intergenerational wisdom that's passed down, right? This is how you see civilization being passed on. Traditional indigenous societies worldwide rely on transmission of knowledge and wisdom from generation to generation through a variety of expression, from myth, story, and dance to architecture, right? Sculpture and glyphs. Our ancestors had a profound knowledge of their natural environment within their specific locality. There are layers of knowledge specific to a bioregion and indefinite niches within those reasons, with further layers of special knowledge. Let's get off into the archaeology, family, right? The scientific study of material remains and as tools, as I just read, we see that they make tools and pottery and other sorts.
2 minutes.
The excavation at 12-acre sites, at a 12-acre site in Indian Creek has prompted a reassignment of older narratives, said Dr. Reg Murphy, who is leading a team from Syracuse University, Farmingdale State College, and Brooklyn College. Colonial era historians said that the Arawak people were exterminated in about 1300 AD by the Caribs, those same cannibals, family, that Columbus was speaking about, who were demonized as man-eaters and then themselves displaced by the first European settlers. Now, this is not a random person just coming around dropping information. This is coming from a doctor who's an archaeologist, family, Dr. Reg Murphy. This is where the source and research information comes from, right? So he's telling us that the Caribs were the cannibals that Columbus encountered, not the Taino Indians, loved ones. Let's continue. Through archaeological excavation, much has been learned about the local Ono Saladoid Taino, as well as documentation from Fray Raymond Payne, as I mentioned him earlier, as one of the three that was mentioned by Columbus himself. Fray Payne was appointed by Columbus to record the Saladoid, aka Taino customs. So now we have one of a primary source right here, loved ones. He lived amongst the people, so he can tell you about the people. So let's see what he got to say. Living amongst the local Ono, Saladoid, Taino, Fray Payne, learning their language, religion, and worship of the Zimi gods, as well as the local Ono, Taino music and culture. This tells us right here, and this is from the Taino Museum. Right here. You better get with it, Ratchet Craig. I'm not playing no games with you.
What's up? The host said. There we go.
All right. I believe Sister Denise is having some problems. So until she come back, we can have you shared your PowerPoint, Craig?
I'm for the share now.
All righty.
All right. Back to the program. And I'm finna bring you, brother. This is the end of you right here. This the juicy part right here. We finna get down to it. Uh, this right here is how the Taino people look. What parts of the world we talking about? This image gets sold on teacher page, teacher website. It's for like $5.25. Y'all go support the teachers, man, cause I'm finna teach this nigga today. I'm finna teach him today. But anyway, uh, who are the Tainos? According to Encyclopedia Britannica, Tainos are Akawa speaking people who at the time Christopher Columbus exploitation inhabited what are now known as Cuba, Jamaica, and Hispaniola, which is the Haitian and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Ricans, and the Virgin Islands. Once the most numerous indigenous people of the Caribbean, the Taino may have numbered 1 or 2 million at the time of the Spanish conquest in the late 15th century. That's the 1400s year, the 1492, 93-ish on back era. They had long been on the defensive against the aggressive Carib people. Yeah, they fight them. They the similar people, so what I'm saying, they had tribal wars who conquered the Carib people who had conquered the lesser Anatolians to the east, right? Uh, yeah. Like I said, these are my methodology: anthropology, archaeology, ethnographic, ethnohistory. I don't think I got to go right back through that. I point it out as I go. These are my key definitions: savagery, the condition of being primitive and uncivilized. Civilized, bringing a place to a stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced. More advanced. Uh, Agriculture, right? That's the first one I'm going into right now. To go into the agriculture of it, right? Uh, the art of cultivating grounds, including harvesting of crops, the rearing and management of livestock, tillage, husbandry, and farming. It was agriculture is, right? Now, Doctrine of Discovery, Old World to the New World. Still Encyclopedia Brown. When they were first encountered by the European, Tainos practiced a high yielding form of shifting agriculture. Oh shit, I'm in trouble. To grow their stable food, cassava and yams. Ratchet in trouble. It's the imagery right here. There's old Christopher Columbus in right there. Let me put my thing on. That's Christopher Columbus. That's the slave ship. Got some Jews, some Moors, some African slaves. You see the old cross right there. There you go with your shot. There's your people right there, the Christian people. They go to the Tainos right there. But as you see my reference right for the gallery, right here the reference, the gallery collections. So let me get to the next one. Bang. Christopher Columbus, right? We ain't finna hate on Christopher Columbus today. This is a no hate on Christopher Columbus Day. On Mother's Day. He's somebody's child. He had a mother. All right, we ain't finna hate on Christopher Columbus. But Christopher Columbus looking for the lost garden. Christopher Columbus was keenly interested in finding the lost garden of Eden. One of his prized possessions was the copy of a cardinal by Pierre Monet, a graphical treatise that suggests, terrestrial paradise, perhaps the place which the author called the Fortunate Island. Columbus copies marginal notes demonstrate his abiding interest in the map, the location of the lost god. When he stumbled upon the alley of Haspinolia, Columbus believed he was close to discovering the Eden. He was just a regular Christian guy looking for the lost Garden of Eden. He wasn't trying to go colonize people. Y'all need to leave Christopher Columbus alone. Anyway, next. Back to the high yielding forms of shift in agriculture where I was in trouble at. High yielding. I mean large amount. Fruitful, like in the Bible, be fruitful, large amounts. Form of. When you have form of high yielding, form of mean having the shape, the character, style. That's for Cambridge Dictionary. Sort of kind of look like, but not quite agriculture, right? Uh, but continue to with the Encyclopedia Britannica. They will burn down the forests of scrub, then heap the ashes of soil into a mound, then it could be easily planted. I think I got called Smoking the Barrel. They burned it down the forest. Oh man, Smoking Barrel got there. I got to call Smoking Barrel there. Tended and irrigated. Corn, mace, beans, squash today, peanuts, ground nuts, and pepper were also grown, and wild plants was gathered. Right, wild plants was gathered. So you know what I'm saying. That is some they call shifting agriculture. All right, next. Let me go down. Let me go down. Just playing with me. But you know who else did shifting agriculture? The Papua New Guinea people, the Melanesian. These people, right? Right up here. They got the little face mag looking like an old Indian around here. They got the nose. Oh, shoot. But that's how it look when you burn down the forest right here. You burn down the forest, this how it look right there. They burn down the forest and then when this try to get back, the earth could replenish, right? Let me next. What's next? What's next? Let me go next. Proof of the lowland of the Papua Guinea, dynamics of follow succession and introduction to robustery coffee in shifty culture areas, right? Back to the lowland Papua New Guinea people. In a tradition shifting culture system in the lowland Papua New Guinea consists of mixed food gardens in which yams, bananas, and sugarcane predominate. So this, we comparative. They had the same type of thing that the Papua New Guinea people have, and we pretty sure we go probably call them savages, cause I don't think they one of y'all want to live with moms there, but we go see. Looking for agriculture. Still on my Encyclopedia Britannica shit, right? Birds, lizards, and small animals was hunted for food. The only domesticated animal being the dog, and occasionally the parrot, used to decoy wild birds with a range of hunters. Fish and shellfish were another important food source. So they were fishing, had shellfish. Uh, they domesticated dogs and the parrots, right? But on the left right here, my left anyway, you got the little statue of this dog. Today, this how it look. That's their breed of their dog. So they had domesticated dogs, but not no domesticated animals, right? We gonna see about that. I'm looking for. I'm looking for agriculture, right? Because the livestock is a part of agriculture. All right, fish domestication in aquaculture, fish farming. The first trial of fish farming species, Hermes concession, might date back to 8,000 years ago with a management of aquaculture of common carp. It was in China. Evidence of the farming also in the Egyptian tomb from 3,500 with psychological control over reproduction of the Nile tilapia in irrigation ponds. I mean, man-made ponds. Uh, In Europe, the farming and carbon compounds already developed during the Middle Ages. That's later on. It's much later on. Yeah, yeah. The Italians, marine species in the coastal lagoon and large opening water bodies dated back to the 15th century. The French trout culture started around the second half of the 19th century. In North America, aquaculture started back about 100 years ago. In Africa, the agriculture dated back 1940s. They sometimes don't consider Egypt as Africa, but in Australia, New Zealand, and diverse Pacific Island states, the development of aquaculture is more recent. No livestock detected. No livestock domestication is detected. Animal known as translocation into the Caribbean prehistoric. That's the possum, uh, the guinea pig. Some of the I can't pronounce. Peccary. They got a deer over there. They got a deer, which is also on the selected island in the Hatia, native to the Greater Antilles, but moved between islands prehistoric. Uh, all of them look like little rats to me. They got the deer right there. Number what the deer is? Number G right here. This is deer. Oh, he looks so. There was this right here like an old little bear, a little koala bear or something. Like it came from Australia, migrated from Australia somewhere. Anyway, let me go. Get back to my Encyclopedia Britannica shit. Traditional Taino settlement range is small family compound group around 3,000 people. Houses were built of logs and poles with thatched roofs, huts. More men wore linear clothes and women wore aprons of cotton and palm fabrics. Both sets painted themselves on special occasions, just like the Melanesian people, and they wore earrings, nose rings, and necklaces, which sometimes made of gold. Let me go back. Let me see, cause let me give you bang right back
2
to the Papua New
minutes.
Guinea people right there. There you go, the nose rings. There you go. You know what I'm saying? The little aprons and all that. Is going on in Papua New Guinea people. The Taino also did pottery basket, implements of stone. That is the key word. Implements of stone and wood. Their favorite form of recreation of ball game played in a rectangular court. The Taino had a elaborate system of religious beliefs and ritual. Ooh. That involved a worship of spirits called Semis by means of carved representation. Carved representation. I should have underlined that too. They also had a complex social order with the government, hereditary chiefs, and sub chiefs, and classes of nobles and commoners and slaves. This according to Encyclopedia Britannica, and I yield the rest of my time to the next round.
Okay.
You shot, you better bring it, buddy. Were you at
Hello, can I be heard? Okay. Hi, okay, we're back. It is on to the second round. Commander Yashar started his first round, saying how they, did have a language, and that they looked like civilized people when Columbus came over. Richard Craig came with agriculture, trying to see if they had agriculture in their land before those ships ever came. And so now we're back on Commander General Yashar to see what else he can prove about them being civilized. a civilized people before these Spanish interactions with them.
Right.
I'm ready when you are, Yashar.
Okay. Brother, uh, Ratchet, are you understanding what we debating about? Do you really understand what our topic is about? Do you understand the people that we're speaking about? All right, is my screen sharing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So as you can clearly see, family, this is what this brother whole first round, 15 minutes was about. Papua New Guinea. Okay. Let's see if they speak the Taino Arawak language. Because if they speak the Arawak language, why is he talking to y'all and bringing this information out in this debate? That's the first question, right? So here we go. New Papua New Guinea languages. Again, we should be finding, right? We should be finding clearly, right? The Taino Arawak language. So, I hope you can see my screen clearly. And when you look into this box right here that's highlighted in red, say Northeast New Guinea, right? And then it also goes up in here, right? Trans New Guinea, Usher, right? So if we look into both of these, into this box right here, this entire box, you don't see the Arawak Taino language, right? You see these different languages. So I just wanted to point that out before he gets you caught in the mix and y'all be lost in the sauce. That's not what we're talking about, family. So let me show you what we're talking about. Let me get back to my PowerPoint, right? So Columbus did not discover a lost or unknown land. There was a flourishing civilization of Native Americans. The primary group was the Arawak Taino Indians. The Arawak is the general group to which they belong and describes especially the common language which this group of Native Americans shared. They range from Venezuela through the Caribbean and Central America all the way to Florida. However, the particular group of Arawak speaking people, this is why I showed you that the Papua New Guinea people should have been speaking this language, right? This is why I showed you that before I got into my information, because the brother is misinforming you guys and he's misinformed himself with the information that he put into his PowerPoints concerning this debate. All right. So let's move on. As a matter of fact, the source where you can find this information is the Taino Museum itself. Yeah, they're telling you themselves. It's coming from their mouths, not no one else's mouth. All right. Next slide. The local Ono Saladoi Taino Society was basically a gentle culture. It sound like no savage people to me. In fact, the word Taino language, the word Taino means good and noble, right? So that means that the Taino language is a good and noble language. Their society was characterized by happiness, friendliness, and and a paternal, highly organized hierarchy. So the brother just got through saying that that these people were a savage people. Well, again, he was talking about the wrong group of Indians or people, right? Because again, when you look at the information coming from themselves, the museums, right? Other archaeologists, other scientists, researchers, they're saying a different story. Even Columbus himself is saying a different story than them being savages. So I just need you at some point in time in your PowerPoints to bring out where the Taino speaking people were savages. The local Ono Saladoi were savages. Can you do that for us, Ratchet Craig? If not, just go ahead and just go ahead and just shut it down, brother. We don't need no more games being played in this community. You see what I'm saying? So again, now pottery, right? Ain't this dealing with archaeology, Craig? The pottery, right? Hold on, let me move this out the way. right? The ceramic pots, right? The society of the Taino who made ceramic vessels, which style the archaeologists call Chikoi, emerged as a continuation of the cultural development that had characterized the Caribbean history for several thousands of years. So that's telling me that their civilization was passed on, right? Or does that say that their savagery was passed on? You let me know what that means to you, Ratchet Craig, in your next 15 minutes, brother. And make sure you take all the time you need. Do not leave nothing behind because you need it all. All right. Yeah. Moving on. Okay. So here we go. The ceramic bottle as a mixture of Chican and Astenoi style. So remember when I told you about what the Astenoi means? It means them moving from one stage to another stage, a more advanced stage. So this is why you're seeing this the way it's presented to us. The ceramic bottle as a mixture of Chican and Astenoi style. So let's see how that looks and what that looks like according to them. This bottle is representing the divisions of the Taino universe into male and female, living, dead, and cultural. I don't believe a savage people would even break that down like that with pottery. Let's just keep it funky. Supernatural spheres. The vessel's shoulders represent the female breast, and the spout represents the male phallus. I don't need to go no further, family, because as we can see, only a civilized people would come up with things like this. All right, let's get into agriculture, right? Let's get into agriculture, the science, art, and practice of cultivating the soil. Now, his whole first round was talking about what they was cultivating. The cassava, the yams, all these things. But he said it was an uncivilized people. Brother, why are you helping me out in my debate? I just would like to understand that before you get going into your second round. Give us an understanding of why you chose to help Yashar out in this debate when it comes down to agriculture, brother. You should have been showing that the Tainos didn't know nothing about agriculture. You should have been showing that they didn't pass nothing down from child or generation to generation when it came down to agriculture. Let's read a little bit. Let's see what they got to say. Most farms can be organized broadly into three basic types. Oh, they got three basic types. Savage people got three basic types in farming. Let's see what they talking about. First are fincas, commercializados, meaning commercial crops. So that means that they growing commercial. That means that they growing big, brother. Not just no little small, little personal stuff. You know, they growing big. Why? So that they can trade, so that other family members can eat. Why? Because the family and the society is growing. That's what you call civilized. Right? Let's keep reading. It says the second type of holding is the canuco, the family farm. This is what you was talking about, brother, right? I don't know if you even mentioned the name of what it was and even if they even distinguished the three, right? Because what you would present is less information to make it seem like these people are savage. But see, as you can see here, I got a plethora. I got enough, right? As you can see, I'm coming from the same source as you, the Britannica. And this is what it's saying about their agriculture. The second type of holding is the canuco, family farm, which is typically leased by the farmer. It is usually small in size and includes a mixture of foods, crops such as corn, beans, and local consumptions, and commercial crops such as coffee and cacao. The third type is a fincus grandaris, a large pastoral farm. So now you're talking about the livestock, right? Why would they even grow it, even take a bigger part of the acre, 6,000 acres, my brother, just for their livestock, but they savages, right? These are commonly found in the Llanos, where unenclosed land is used for grazing cattle on the low quality grasses. The cattle are herded rodeos. The Tainos is using the rodeos. Why? If they didn't have a language or a script, why are we using words in English that they use in their language? But we're gonna worry about that later on, right? Let's keep moving on. Agriculture and horticultural practices that work in one location do not necessarily work in other locations. Right? Those conquistadors, they couldn't come to the Caribbeans talking about, oh yeah, we about to do our own thing here, because they didn't know how to farm the land. They had to learn it from the indigenous people. Right? Not a savage people that was trying to kill them and eat them. But you forgot about that. You didn't want to present that to the people. But I get it. I get it. One of the most obvious lessons of modern times is the misapplication of Northern European farming practices to tropical and arid areas of the earth. There is a pressing need for a reestablishment of bioregion specific knowledge basis. The depth of knowledge requires intergenerational transmission and requires that each generation build upon the wisdom of the previous generation, which is what you call civilization. One of the principles of our local ono solidoid Taino speaking people endeavors here is to accumulate, preserve, and share this generational knowledge for our specific areas. It's nothing over here. It's nothing over here right now. Local ono solidoid Tainos were very good seafarers, adept with their canoes at traveling great distances over the ocean and fishing. While the ocean was an abundant source of nutrition, the local ono solidoid Taino speaking people also cultivated a variety of food in polycultural gardens. Hey, brother, this is not a savage people, brother. The information is clearly speaking for itself. Food, forests were planted around homes, and a variety of domestic animals were tended. Naturalized aquaculture systems were developed around the feeding patterns of green turtles. So again, we see them not only having systems of agriculture and horticulture, but they even had aquaculture systems, loved ones. Trust me, a savage people ain't coming up with that. The Tainos were also adept hunters of small mammal reptiles and birds, not hunters of mankind like the Caribs, aka cannibals of the Caribbeans. As I showed you that earlier, right? So I'll wait on the question. So let's get to the language and script, right? The Arawak language still spoken? Is the Arawak language still spoken? A great many communities still speak Arawak language. In Brazil and other groups of speakers are found in Peru,
2 minutes,
Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, French Guyana, Suriname, right? Taino, a now extinct Arawakan language, once predominated in the Antilles and was the first Indian language to be encountered by the Europeans. This is coming from Britannica.com, right? That's the source. Tainos is an Arawakan language. Taino is an Arawakan language that was once spoken throughout the Caribbean. Classic Eastern Taino was spoken mainly in Central Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, and Turks and Caicos Island, and the northern Leeward Island. The Saboni dialect was Western Taino, was spoken in Western Hispaniola, the Bahamas, and Jamaica, and most of Cuba. So as we see, the Taino is not the name of the people, but it's the actual name of a dialect of the Arawakan language. I'm going to say it again. Taino is not the name. It's an eponymy, right, of the language that they gave to the people and the tribe and some places where they lived. Okay? This is what you call an eponymy. Clearly, okay? It is thought that the language ceased to be spoken within 100 years of the Spanish colonization of the region, which began in 1492. However, Taino possibly continued to be spoken in a few isolated areas, particularly in Cuba, until the late 19th century. And I'm going to show and prove this, family. In my closing, I'm going to show and prove this to you in my closing.
Time.
I'm not here to play no games, Roger Craig. Step your scholarship up, player.
Craig.
So now introduce me better than just don't say Craig. Put some
I
funk
was
in your
trying to make sure you
goddamn
was
voice.
in here.
Put some funk
Okay,
in your
next is
voice.
Ratchet Craig's second round. Hopefully, he can prove that they were indeed savage in some way. Where's your screen up this way?
Let me go and get back to my screen share. Let me get back to it. Yeah, you made a whole bunch of claims, but let me get back to it. All right, I'm back in the game. I'm back in the game, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All
And
right,
whenever you start, I will start your time.
yeah, let me go back up. Cause he playing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I said they had a high yielding form of shifted agriculture. High yielding mean large amount. Form of mean heavy shape, character, style of, sort of, kind of, but not agriculture, right? And these are just words. They would burn the forest or scrub and then heat the ashes and soil into the mound that could be easily planted, right? So they was burning down the forest. What type? That is not cultivating the land. It's not cultivating the land. You burning down the forest. I got to call smoking to barrel you. That's not civilized to me. Let me go. All right. And who else do that? I brought up the Papua New Guinea people for a reason. They the ones who do that today. There you go at the bottom. That's how it look. That is not civilized to me. This is not farming. Only thing they domesticated, which is livestock, where they domesticated the dog, right? For hunting reasons. For hunting reasons. They never had a livestock. I don't know where he get this livestock source from. I have to make sure he sourced it up, but I think he made it up. And I say the fish domestication. As you can see in this one right here, I say in North America, aquaculture started back about 100 years ago in Africa. I mean, in Africa, it according to date back to 1940s. In Australia, New Zealand, diverse Pacific Island states, development of aquaculture is more recent. This is the American Frontier, Volume 11, Issue 3, May 2021. Well, I gotta clear up some of these claims. He making a lot. These are there's no livestock domestication detected, right? These are like they main animals. They animals right here. What can you domesticate to feed a fucking family? They was killing goddamn it, these goddamn little rats and shit. You know what I'm saying? They were killing them up, eating off them. So, they laid out probably burning the bushes, the forest up a lot. On this shifting agriculture. All right, let me get back to it. Now, the Taino Zemi mask from the Walter Art Museum. The Taino have an elaborate system of religious beliefs and rituals. It involved the worship of the spirit Zima by the means of the carved representation. This how Zima look right here. There ain't no matter. You can't see through that. They can't put that on their face and do no rituals, though. Look like just a stone. Just stone. No, they some stone people. All right, let me go to the next spine. They had Stone Ball Sports. This is at the Cagano ceremonial ball court site that dated back Puerto Rico's late prehistory and early contact era. The Tainos Indian constructed the stone lined ball court called Beatties between the 12th and 1500 AD, and is used as the site throughout the Spanish contact. The first written description of the game played with two teams and a rubber ball appeared after Columbus' first voyage. After his voyage, they were throwing rocks at each other. I hope they weren't playing dodgeball. But anyway, let me go to the next one. Fine. They had a theocratic chief system. The Taino lived with a theocratic kingdom. They had a hierarchy arrangement of chiefs. The Taino divided into the working class, aka slaves, the sub chief, nobles, which included the priest, the medicine man, and the chief. Each village had one. There was no aristocrat lineage, nor the titles or other that was given the individual distinct of their service, distinction their service to the clan. Both men and women was eligible to serve chiefs. Individual traced descended through their mother. They was a matriarch system and goods. Class status and office of the chief was will also inherit matrilineal, right? Polygamy was practiced. Men sometimes might have several spouses. Uh, the chiefs might have up to 30 wives. God damn, that's a lot of goddamn wives. In the most instant, they was the ones who could afford it. So this right here came from welcome to Puerto Rico.com, and they had 30 wives. God damn. Oh, that shit was savagery. But anyway, next. Guess who else got that? The Papua New Guinea people, my homies, my papa, the Melanesians, the ones with the nose ring. Them, they got it. But I bet you won't call them civilized Yashar. I bet you won't call them civilized. You would say that our people was more civilized than it. Anyway, back to the Stone Age shit. Taino artifacts and petroglyphs and symbols. A petroglyph, a carving done on rock surface, because this is what they had, like in a cave. Taino left petroglyphs on the cave wall, large rocks in the riverbed, and on stone monoliths, right? That was just a rock. Monoliths are single stone monuments, which may be arranged into a fence-like border around a multi-purpose ceremonial space. So, they worship the rock. These space in courtyard are sometimes referred to as batties, right? It was a part of their sports. They had their ceremonial sports. Okay, the petroglyph include many symbols and simple figures composed of a line. The symbol tend to fall into three categories. Some are anthropomorphic, which means they look like a human figure, half animal, half man. Other are zoomorphic, resembling an animal like a frog, bird, or bat. Still, other petroglyph symbols are highly abstract, which they don't resemble anything in the real world. And this is called the L.I.U. Palmer School Library of Information and Science. All these things you can look up. Y'all can Google it. Put in the keyword. The Stoners, right? The Taino the Stoners. Above Taino petroglyphs, because petroglyphs did what they had before the European came. Petroglyph is a symbol that stood for many things, including category of people like babies or pregnant women, uh, the weather, the natural elements like the sun. Some symbols stood abstract concepts like fertility or powers. The other symbol represented specific Taino gods and goddesses, right? And if you can see to the right, that's how this look. There you go right there. That's the water. It's snails, right? Let me go to the next screen. I got it bigger because I want to do the water. It's right here, the shaman right here. It's right here, a frog. They go a frog. They go a shaman and a bird mix. They go the sun. They go the sun too. All these suns at the bottom. So guess who else got that? The Papua New Guinea people. You sure? Call them highly civilized people. Do that. All right. Evidence of the Papua New Guinea from the rock art of West Papua. Here they go right here. I just wanted to show you the symbols they had. They got a little frog, little lizards. All right. I see you got it. They got it going on. They got it going on. They know how to draw, like my daughter. Anyway, we go next right here. Cause he playing the Papua New Guinea people. That's who got that. We gotta look at them. You ain't gonna call them highly civilized. Writing system lifestyle. This what the debate is about, having a writing system, not a spoken language. Everybody spoke. All the Homo sapiens spoke. A writing system technically refer to a script or orthography. Graphy consists of sets of visible mark forms or structures called characters or graph that are related to substructure in the linguistic system. Roughly speaking, if the character represents a meaningful unit, such as morphemes or a word, the orthographic is called logographic writing system. It is a representation of a syllable. It is called symbolic writing system. If it's a segment of a syllable, it is called a consonant, consonantal writing system of vocals, syllabary, and the phonemes. It is called an alphabetical system. Like we write an alphabetical system in America. Let me show you some examples. Logograph rifle, the shade that is scripture. It's 1250 BCE, 1050 BCE to 1050 BCE, early Chinese writing. This is called logographic writing. Sorry, the Tainos didn't get to that stage. They didn't get to the syllabic writing system by the let me put it on my Japanese katakana 800 CEE Japanese writing script. They never got to that stage. The Tainos. All right. Like I said, the key definition concepts today was savagery, right? Chiefly in the historical or literature context. I put it in the historical or literature context. I ain't talking about brutal and beating up people, or eating people, or nothing. The condition of being primitive or uncivilized. Then I explained what I thought he meant by civilized. He just put a civilization, bring a place of people to a stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced. These is the Oxford Language Dictionary, both of them. A writing system, technically referred to as a script or orthography, consists of set marks, form, structures, character, and graphs that are related to substructure in the linguistic system. The linguistic system, a writing system, agriculture, the art of science, cultivating the ground, including harvesting of the crops and the rearing and management of livestock. The rearing and management of livestock, tillage and farming. Encyclopedia Britannica. Of course, I said the Taino was savagery based off no agriculture, and no writing system until the arrival of the Europeans in Africa. Yashar had agriculture, a writing system before the arrival. I ain't seen no writing system, nor have I seen some advanced agriculture, like he says, a civilized agriculture, before the arrival of the European and the African slave, which means they'll be civilized. But the purpose of this is, let me go to the next one. As you can see, these are debates, positions on it. Craig, savagery, no agriculture, no writing system. Yashar, civilized, yes, agriculture, yes, writing system. So I just want to remind y'all this what this is about. Uh, my savagery conclusion. Tainos are made of a upper political, also called late Stone Age people. Taino never made it to the Neolithic revolution or the first agricultural revolution or the agriculture of farming. They never made it to that point. Taino made it to the petroglyphs of cave painting. Taino never made it to pictogram, ideogram system, or early writing or writing system, which means they have no calendar system.
1
You got
minute.
to have agriculture to have a calendar system. They go hand in hand. No decaying system like in Egypt, duality of day and light. They go with the calendar system. You got to have a duality of day and light. All that with the agriculture, right? The importance of agriculture. They had no metallurgy system like to plow, to do anything that was considered farming or resembling farming. And so by that they had no numerous system. They had none of it. So you will never find math. It did, of course, you won't have a astronomy system if you don't have none of these. But this is how I end my conclusion, and I hope Yashar, I hope you got your work because you got to show some evidence of certain things to me.
It's time. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if you can. Okay, Yashar, General Yashar, would you like to start out with a question? And I'll give you 2 minutes to answer, Craig. Or do you want to go back and forth or just three in a row? Three in a row.
Yeah, he wanted. I think he wanted the rapid fire style. So
Uh,
what I want to do is, if I'm starting it off, is that how it's going? Am I starting it off?
yes.
Okay, cool. So, hey, Ratchet, this is what I need you to do, brother. I need you to share your screen and pull up slide. What was that? Number 12. Let's pull up slide number 12 first.
So this is a part of my question.
Yeah, this is a part of your question.
Okay, this was up.
Yeah, based off of your information.
Yeah, this was up.
Yeah.
Let me share it. Hold on, man. Give a second. 1 second, G. Fucking man.
Matter of fact, go to slide 13. Yeah, do that. Go to slide 13.
At 13.
Yeah.
All right. If we get up, cause it ain't popping up, but I'm gonna get it. It happened to me last time. 12 slide 13. All right. Yeah, go. Let me go back in, share it. Find share video. Let me share slides. Share screen. Window. Why is this motherfucker not showing up? Denise, help me out, Denise. You can do something?
No, your screen isn't up here.
Hey,
Can we just read what's on it? Cause
yeah, you see what's about to happen. I'm about to take a head off. He don't want to post that. He don't want to.
All right.
He don't want. He don't want to post that thing, man. Post that slide, brother. Post that slide.
Yeah. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Let's
I
go.
want
Let's
to post.
go.
I
You're moving
want
too
to
slow.
post. I ain't running from it.
Shaka got things to do.
Yeah,
Eric
Shaka
got
ain't got
things to
nothing to
do.
do. You
Let's
don't
go,
hear
brother.
me.
Let's go.
You don't hear me. Shaka
Shouldn't
ain't
take
got
that
nothing to
long.
do. Not
Shouldn't take
day.
that long.
Ah, there we go. Bye.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Right there. You see it?
All right. Cool. This is slide number 13, right?
Yeah.
And so in the information, it's talking about when they were first encountered by Europeans, the Tainos practiced a high-yielding form of shifting agriculture. So my question to you is, when did the European have time to teach them how to shift the agriculture in a land that they never been on? Go.
Brother, that is not my purpose. Through my whole presentation.
That's not the question that I asked you. I asked you a specific question about the information that's here in 13. Address that question.
My point is they was past shifting agriculture. Shifting agriculture is very primitive. So they didn't have to teach them that primitive stuff. They were bringing civilization to them. That is my point.
That's not what this information is saying.
Bro, shifting agriculture is when you burn down the forest, bro, and make a ashes and soil pile and grow something.
Yeah, they still do that today.
I don't know nobody.
They've been doing that. They've been doing that for centuries. They was doing that before the Tainos even came. Before we even knew anything about the so-called local Ono people. They've been doing that.
The Papua New Guinea people do that too.
But we ain't talking about them.
Yeah, but they do the same thing.
But we ain't talking about them. The debate is about the so-called Taino speakers.
I had to give you somebody that still do it. I ain't saying whether they spoke it. I said they did.
Yeah. We're talking about the Taino speaking people because that's who you're talking about.
At the stage,
the Guyana, right? They don't speak Taino dialect, the Arawak language. So they not even in discussion. Period.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, they're not even in discussion. You got to talk about those who actually speak the Taino Arawak language and dialect. That's who you got to talk about. You can't just talk about random people.
What do language got to do with agriculture and anthropology, brother?
We're talking about who you just mentioned. You just mentioned the Guyana people again. You just brought them up again in this conversation. And I'm telling you that you can't talk about them because that's not what this debate is about.
I can't talk about them.
Stay focused on what the debate is about. The debate is about the Tainos being savage or no.
Yeah,
that's what the debate is about. It's not about the people of New Guinea.
A savage look.
Okay.
Do the people of New Guinea speak the Taino Arawakan language? That's my second question.
No, they do not speak their language.
So why are you talking about these people?
I'm talking about agriculture, brother.
No. What is the debate about, Craig? What is the debate about?
In the evolution.
What is the debate about, Craig?
The agriculture, brother.
Craig, we in a debate right now. This is not the back chat. What is the debate about? What is the topic?
Brother, was the Tainos civilized or savagery, right?
Okay, so where's New Guinea at?
I don't care what New Guinea get. I just know
so
they had
if you don't care about what New Guinea is, you shouldn't have had about 6 or 7 of them in your slide.
Agriculture just
if you don't care about them, you shouldn't have
okay, guys.
I got one more question.
Like wait, General Shaw. Wait. Craig, do you have any answers to either one of Yashar's questions for his third question?
How many questions he asked me already?
2.
All right, I'm going straight to the brother.
So, wait, he gonna ask you his third one, then you could just get your 3 off.
Yeah. You want to go and ask me the third one, brother?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to ask the third question. Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. Okay. So, right. Let's go to slide 14. The very next slide.
14.
Slide 14. Very next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christopher
Where
Columbus.
did Christopher Columbus state in this information right here that the so-called Taino peoples were savages? Go, show us that.
No, my whole point of putting Christopher Columbus up here is because we were gonna do the blind game on Christopher Columbus today. So I never said
I
he
don't know
said
what
they
the
were
blind
savages.
game
I said
is.
he was looking for the lost garden, and he stumbled upon the
But the
lane.
topic ain't about the lost garden.
He stumbled upon the land
The
of
topic is
the
about
Taino people.
the topic is about
That's why I
savage.
said that he stumbled on it. I was neutralizing you because he's an innocent man in this conversation, and I won't go allow you to bastardize him today. We could do it on another level, but this is what he came in right here. He was looking for the lost guard.
Oh, okay.
He didn't know he
So
was
this
gonna
don't have nothing to do with the debate topic.
I'm just saying.
I'm asking you a question. Does this have anything to do with the debate topic? Yes or no?
You brought up Christopher Columbus plenty of times.
Does this have anything to do with the debate?
When you brought up Christopher Columbus,
yes or
it
no?
had anything to do
It's
with
a yes or no
Okay,
question.
wait, Yashar, let him
Like
answer.
Jesus, like Jesus, white Jesus. Let's just answer the questions and go.
I said that Christopher Columbus had something to do with the debate because he brought him up plenty of time.
Okay.
That is my answer.
Okay.
I just said he would mind his own business. That's all. And ran up on the Tainos.
Whether you satisfied with his answer or not, Yashar, just take the answer and so that he can ask his questions.
Right. Okay, Yashar, are you ready for Ratchet Craig?
Yeah, man. It's easy work. Let's go.
Okay, Ratchet Craig, you have 3 questions.
All right, brother. Can you tell me any animal that would be livestock by the Taino or domesticated by the Taino for agricultural reasons?
Yeah. Do you know what cattle is?
Cattle, yes, I do.
What is cattle?
They're my cows.
Oh, okay. So in my information, do you need me to show you? Do you need me to show you my PowerPoint where specifically told you that they marked off about 6,000 acres worth of land for pastoral farming? Do you know what pastoral farming is?
Yeah, I didn't like that source.
Okay, so pastoral farming. Pastoral farming means what to you?
That source.
Well, what source? Did you go fact check that source? Go fact check the
after
source.
The European. This source came from after the European.
Go fact check. Listen. Okay. You showed me in a topic, in our debate topic, where we had to do a time frame of information. Show me that in the debate topic. If there is no debate, no time frame in the debate topic, we just talking about are the people savage or no? And if you don't have no information to support your claim, then there it is. There, you lost this debate, brother.
So we did do upon the arrival of the European or before the arrival of the European. That
show me what you're talking about.
Premise.
Show me what you're talking about in your PowerPoint,
bro. I said that.
No, show it to us,
I said that. I showed that plenty of time. Let me show it. Cause you playing me, you shot.
You got like 30 seconds.
No, but anyway, let me right there. Nah, that ain't it.
Nah, it ain't. It was never it. It was never
it. Go right there.
Because I'm taking
the topic of the debate.
I'm gutting.
That right there is the premise right there. You look at it good.
And I'll take it good. All that. You see those hooks? All
look at
that.
It good. Look at it good.
Everything in there is coming out.
You blind. I just swole both of your eyes. You blind.
Okay, so what's the next question?
Let's go.
All right, my next question. Since you could provide no livestock, you talk about some cattle. We know
That's
they ain't have no
livestock.
damn cattle. Get
I
the
mean,
fuck out of here.
that's
But anyway,
livestock. You said it was livestock, just like I know it's
they had
livestock.
cattle, then you try to move the goalposts over. Nice move though, Yashar. Nice move. I see you.
Right.
But anyway, when it cut down to this petroglyphs, right? The debate was about a writing system. All you talk about was spoken languages, right? Can you give me a writing system they had before the arrival of the Europeans?
Sure.
Like even you can give me a hieroglyph.
Would you like for me to show it to you
Like,
right now?
I said they have petroglyphs.
You can just refer to
Stone
it.
Age. The Stone Age.
No, matter of fact,
so
I'm glad
now,
you asked me this question.
This is my question, though. This is my question.
Yeah.
Have you provided any source that said they have a writing system?
Is it time for me to answer? Is it time for me to answer?
Yes.
Check this out, family. I'm absolutely ecstatic that he asked me this question. Right. I'm sharing my screen. Can you share my screen, please? I'm absolutely ecstatic. And what I'm gonna need for y'all to do is I'm gonna need y'all to mute y'all mics so that y'all can hear the information. Right. So let's get to the PowerPoint. Right. Right here. Right. As you can see, the Naguaki Taino pictograph alphabet. Right. This is from Dr. Yari Melendez, one of the principal leaders and teachers of the Naguaki Ano community in Puerto Rico. Okay, so I just wanted to show you just a little bit right here, but this is the main thing that I wanted to show you right here. Do you see this right here, Craig? Matter of fact, let me help you out just a little bit better, just so that you can see it clearly. Right? Boom. Bam. You see that? Do that look like the petroglyph that you was just talking about? Oh yeah, this the sun, and this is some scribble scrabble, and this is, do that look like that right there? No, it don't. I can answer that for you. But hold on. This is why this is my closing, right? You see here, that information, right? That information right here is in the Arawak language first, the transliteration right here. As you see my arrow moving across, that will be your Arawakan language, the Taino language, right? And here's the transliteration in English of what that script says. And let me read it to you, young man. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in spirit of brotherhood. Now, family, I'm going to end it right there because that's the end of this debate. Right? He wanted to see a script. He wanted to see a transliteration and also be able to understand it in English. I just gave it to you. And this is from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Okay, Ratchet Craig, your next question.
Yeah, I'm reading my mic. I was looking for this source. But anyway, that language was made in 1940 that he brought up. And I'm trying to find the source right quick to debunk it, but that was a 1940 thing. So if you go bring up 1940 stuff in our debate, he be disingenuous and deceptive, right? This was about pre-Columbus versus after the arrival of the European. This was this debate about. Did they have civilization before that the arrival? Because obviously the Spaniards helped them out, and the rest of the European helped them out with their language. But I get you. I get you. But my next question, you be disingenuous with this stuff like that. Can you tell me, brother, when that language that you just had, can you show me your source? Be honest in your source when that language was developed that you're talking about.
That's not important when it was developed, but I will show you what I got concerning the language. And can you share my screen again, please? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. So this brother is crying about a language in a script that he absolutely have no understanding of, right? So, man, right? So he want to know when the alphabet was created, right? It says, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No, we cannot.
All right. I'm waiting on them to share my screen.
It's taking a minute, but it should load up.
Mm-hmm. See, this is what's wrong with.
I see it.
This is what's wrong with people who don't read and do in-depth research, right? They get caught up in silly arguments like what he's trying to present right now. So let me get back to this slide right here. The Naguaki Taino pictographic alphabet. The Naguaki Taino pictographic alphabet was created in 2005 by Dr. Yari Melendez, one of the principal leaders of and teachers of the Naguaki Anio community in Puerto Rico. It is used to write a reconstructed version of the Taino language known as the Taino Puerto Rican Aki, not Naki, okay? It is used to write a reconstructed version of the Taino language. Taino people use petroglyphs, images created in rock, and as a form of pre-writing or proto-writing. I'm gonna read that again because obviously he thinks that that's just a drawing. That's just something that was carved just to look at and say, oh, that was the sun. No, it meant something deeper than just a simple understanding, Lil Craig. So let me read this sentence for you again. The Taino people use petroglyphs, images created in rocks, as a form of pre-writing or proto-writing. They appear on cave walls, large rocks, in riverbeds, and on stone monoliths. These glyphs are human and animal figures and abstract shapes. This alphabet is based partly on them. Do you not understand how languages are made? Everybody that's speaking languages now use ancient petroglyphs or hieroglyphs before they came with an actual writing system. Young man, please tell me you're not coming at me with this craziness. I yield. That's my answer.
So thank you very much, Brother Yashar. And you basically made my point with that. They was primitive because they had a petroglyph, then they had to reconstruct it. But thank you for putting a dagger yourself. And appreciate this argument. You've been putting the dagger yourself the whole night. So, with the Stone Age Taino people. Now, what we gonna do?
That's it.
Yeah, those are my 3 questions, brother.
Okay, so in closing, so we're gonna introduce the judges so they can tell their thoughts. Immaculate Knees, you can go first. Emac. Emac.
Emac.
Me?
All right.
No, can you hear me?
Okay,
Yes, we hear
introduce
you.
yourself and let everybody
Yeah,
know.
this is say what?
I said, make sure you introduce yourself. Let everybody know what debate league that you're with, and also that you are a Taino. That's it.
All right. Yeah, this is Immaculate from Universal Discussions. I was a former debater on a Solar Mind Vision Debate League, and so I'm Puerto Rican, and I attest to about 12% Caribbean DNA when I found out that I was part Taino, and this debate was very, very fire. I love this debate. Now, the introduction, I have to give it to Craig because on his introduction, he gave a little bit more information in depth about what he's going to present. Yashar, he kind of just said eponymous, savage, and civilized. I think he used the Meridian Webster dictionary. I mean, if he could have went more in depth with it, I would have liked to seen that and what he was going to present in his debate. Rather, in his debate, he presented what he was going to show, rather than when he was showing his anthropology, archaeology, ethnography, the ethnohistory, and his meaning of savagery, civilized, writing system, and agriculture. Even though he named the sources of his meaning, but he showed a different meaning rather than the Webster dictionary. So I have to give points to Craig on that one. So Craig won the introduction. Now round one, it's pretty nice. So he brought up Yashar the Locono, being being known as the Solidoid people. I put notes on that. He went in depth and showed the difference between the Carib tribes and the Loconos, who you would call your modern Taino or Arawakians. And I like that. I give points to him on that. So he said savage people are normally fat, got bad teeth, and they didn't take care of themselves. I would have liked to seen if he would have shown that with the Solidoid or the Tainos compared to the Caribbeans. He didn't make a distinction between them. So I kind of knocked points off, because usually when people are savage, they, like he said, like when he showed the Papua New Guinea, the Papua New Guineas are savage people and they're very skinny, and they're not fat. So I don't really see any savage tribes being fat. So I kind of knocked points off of them. He showed Christopher Columbus' son, how he interacted with them. He showed that, and he showed how the cannibals were where you get the word Caribbeans were from the cannibals, and he showed the difference between that. I give him points on that. He also showed that the Caribbeans in 13 AD, the Tainos were killed off and were displaced by the Europeans, and were a war between the Caribs and the Tainos. Okay, so now Craig, when he compared the Tainos, he compared the agricultures with the New Guinea, the people in Malaysia, in the continent of the Oceania, and he showed the ash burning. And so I think that was kind of cool, because I never known that. He said he kind of proved how people who burned their farms were not very civilized. That was very savagery. Then he went into the stocks were small animals that they hunted, and he showed the dogs, the lizards, the birds, etc. That was a very good point. So he showed that the domestication was there was no livestock domesticated detected, and he showed like there were possums. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of like a livestock, but a lower livestock? I think that's what they were going back and forth. He showed that the houses was built by logs and poles. If you would have shown me more, maybe like a hut, like the Tainos, I would have been more on the savage part. But I think the built logs and poles is a little bit more civilized than people who built huts. With the Tainos built hut, you didn't show that, Craig. He showed that the men wore aprons, which is the signs of not a civilized people. So I think I will give the first round to Craig. Then the second round, he
Look, bro, just say Craig got it, bro. You got that? Just say it.
Hey, white Jesus, you sure? Don't interrupt the judges. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
Thank you. So round two, he showed that they didn't speak Arawakan branch with the Papua New Guineas. I like that about Yashar. He went also to the native Indians, sharing the language with the Tainos. That's pretty cool. He also went into the Tainos means good and noble, and he showed a difference between the Caribs were savages than Tainos who were good and noble. So that was a good point. He shows the difference in pottery, which it was the chicken pot, and he showed that there was Ostenoid style. That was a good points. He shows that the farms were three basic types. He showed the commercial stock, the family farm, and the large pastoral farms, which was a very good point to what he was saying. And he made a difference between them. And he showed that there were great seafarers, which in fact the Tainos were great seafarers. That's how they traveled between the Caribs. He said there were non-hunter Caribs. The Caribbeans were non-hunters, something like that. He also shows the Arawak language was still being spoken in some places in South America. He said also showed another point that the New Guineas what was irrelevant to the Arawak culture, and the Tainos were not the name of the language. The eponymous part. So a Taino is not an eponymous name for the Tainos. So that's a good point. Now, Craig, he went into the burning farm. He's proved that that's not civilized. Then he also said that they never had livestock. Then he showed a source from Christina Giovis. It said that the Caribs ate small rats. That was their livestock. They ate small animals. Then he also showed that they had an elaborate religion system, which we know that they had the religion system was very elaborate. That's a good point that Craig said. And then he went to the stone ball sports that we see that comes from the Yucatan, and they're playing with rocks. And he said that maybe they throwing at each other or something like that, which was irrelevant. But he showed the theocratic chiefdom systems, and he showed that there were three social classes, but he didn't show the classes. He just showed one was the working class. He didn't show all the other classes. If he would have went more in depth, that would have been more points for him. Then he showed the stone. Then he went and showed the art, which was the petroglyphs, the symbols, and Craig demonstrated perfect in the question and answering about that. So he showed the difference between the writing system and the petroglyphs, and he said that they didn't make it to the Neolithic Revolution, which didn't have no calendars, no math, no logos, no symbolic. So those stages the Tainos didn't achieve it. So that's what I would give, that the Tainos were not as civilized as what you think. And in the questioning round, before I end this part, the question round, Yashar, you cannot show in your question round parts of your debate where you should have put in your debate. For example, you're showing that 2005, which was a script made after, based off the petroglyph languages that they spoke. You should have went more in depth on that in your actual debate and not in the questioning round. So I knocked points off of that. So I said that Craig won a debate, and I'm out.
And I just want to say this. This is what I was talking. No. This is what I was talking about from the gate. This is what I was talking about from the gate. This shit is crazy.
We got to hear from the judges, and then you can weigh in. And then you can weigh in. Just because one judge says something that you do not like, you gotta have some decorum, brother. Okay.
Look, Irie, the stuff that he was saying was based off the information that he gave Craig. Craig wasn't even breaking down half of the shit that he just broke down. Not even half of it. But yet and still, if he would have did this, if he would have did that.
Hey, you got it. You just
hey, Yashar, calm down, bro. Calm down,
and
bro.
you are losing your noodles right now.
Calm down, bro.
Right. It doesn't. It's just that's his opinion. He's allowed to have it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You did a good job. Just let his opinion go. We have to get to the other people so we can finish.
Right. Someone please mute your mic. Okay. Next, we are going to, let's go ahead and get Singing Bear. Daniel?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing pretty good, and happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Thank you, brother.
I'm just gonna go straight to the point because I'm gonna give it to brother Yashar.
All
I don't know
right.
if I'm saying your name right, but I thought he was more on point with it. He let it be known how the Tainos were great sailors, fishermen, canoe makers, navigators. They had a religion, and that to me, that's civilized people. The other brother, he was just. I felt like I learned more about Guinea people than the Taino people, to be actually honest with you guys. I felt like he didn't come prepared. I didn't really understood him what he was trying to say. I felt like EMAC kind of explained it better than Craig did himself. So I'm gonna say it like this. I'll give it to the brother Yashar. He did a great job. I feel like his introduction annihilated anything that Craig said. So with that, I give it up.
All right. Okay. Next, we are going to go to Amen. Master Amen.
Who, me?
Yes. Would you like?
I'm just making sure you can hear me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought this was a very fantastic debate. I think both brothers did a fantastic job, Brother Yashar and Brother Craig. At first, I thought this was going to be easy to judge, like the Panther debate. I was like, oh, this is just ridiculous. I already know the answer. But the thing is, one brother would start off strong and I'd go one way and another brother would say something. And I was really tugged back and forth. And this is very difficult to judge. But let me just give you my information. I'm going to try not to be like long-winded because I know I'm long-winded. So Yashar said something like, hold on, I'm blind. It says, so are they civilized? So something about the Arawak attacked Columbus and they were, the Taino were fighting amongst tribes. I thought Yashar's introduction was pretty good. The fact that he pointed out the difference between Taino, the peacefulness of the Taino and the aggressiveness of these Carib people, I gave him a +1 for that. Then back to Craig. Craig said something about Christopher. That's what I was trying to say. Christopher Columbus was looking for the Garden of Eden. Now, I've never heard that in my life. And then he said something to the effect of like, Christopher Columbus wasn't so bad, that he wasn't here to colonize, but he was looking for a garden. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think he was definitely there to colonize. And I think the reason why that is because he brought Christian missionaries with him. And obviously those people are there to colonize. So I kind of had to subtract a point from brother Craig for that one. Then I kind of looked up the definition of savage and I looked up the definition of civilized. I think people took Craig out of context when he was speaking about like what savage is. Like savage by definition means like, brutal. I think Craig was really meaning like lacking, technology and sophistication. And Craig really made me laugh in the back chat, and I had to score Craig a really big point because he said he pulled up these Papua New Guinea people, right? And I reacted just like y'all did. I was like, oh man, you pulling up something that ain't got nothing to do with the topic, man. But he was making an analogy between these Papua New Guinean people and these Taino people, and showing like he's saying, all right, if the Papua New Guinea people look like these Taino people, and we all consider Papua New Guinea people to be savage, like you can look at them, they look savage. Then he was like, would you like to live with these Papua New Guinea people with bones through their nose and big lip plates? And I was over here cracking up. And I was thinking to myself, like, absolutely not. I would not like to live with these Papua New Guinean people. And if the Taino people look like these Papua New Guinea people, I don't want to live with the Taino people. So I gave Craig Shrugs a point for that. Plus, he made me laugh. Also, Craig said something about the Taino had slaves and they believed in spirits. That to me wasn't cool. So I gave Craig Shrugs another point. Yashar really stayed on topic. I think Craig seemed like he was going off topic, but he really wasn't. He was making like a lookership, like a compare and contrast type thing. So I'm just looking at my notes. It says, so Yashar said the very definition of a Taino is gentle. So if the very definition of a people is gentle, I'd have to qualify that as being quite civilized, because gentleness to me is a form of being civilized. And secondly, in my own personal opinion, which means absolutely nothing, I don't think that I can define, me as an American can define what being civilized is based on my Western standards. See what I'm saying? I can't simply say that these Taino had no technology and that they're primitive and savage. That's not my right or job to do that, because I mean, say if I took me and put me on the Taino island, you know what I'm saying, and stripped all my technology, I probably wouldn't live that long. You know what I'm saying? I'd probably be dependent upon these people for my very survival. And if their very nature or name means gentle, then, you know, that wouldn't be so bad. So let's see. I'm just going through my notes real quick. Yashar misunderstood Craig's concept of savage, so I kind of took a point away from Yashar for that one. Then Yashar brought up this writing system thing, and I was like, oh wow, I did learn something new today. I guess they had a writing system. Then it was like, dun, 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 dun. The Taino writing system was just a reconstruction made by this Dr. Yeri Melendez guy. So I had to kind of subtract a point from Yashar for that. But again, I think both brothers did an outstanding job. They made me laugh. They made me think. I learned a little bit here and there. But like I said, just Craig Shrugs was just absolutely outstanding. But I'm gonna end you with this. This is the Taino language. I'm probably not doing it that well, but it says Gual Tias Taiku Amahadu. That means friends, something something bless. It just means bless all of y'all. So ultimately, I'd have to say the winner of this debate, I'm definitely gonna have to go with my brother Yashar. The Taino are civilized.
All right. Now let's get to my brother Shaka Upmost.
Hey everyone. Okay, this is kind of an uncomfortable. I don't celebrate Western holidays, but I will say I do celebrate mothers. So, in that sense, shout out to the mothers. Okay,
Thank you.
blessings of the mothers. They're sacred. Okay, it's a little uncomfortable for me because I'm historically known for being at odds with his Hebrew Israelites, but I have a brain, and my brain is relatively objective, and I know, and I did a little bit of homework before I jumped in here, and as a professional speed reader, so to speak, I was able to actually garner quite a bit of information relatively quickly. Very clear, defined patterns emerged to paint a picture of who these people were. Okay, so let me just say at the outset, before I even, and I'm hoping that you guys give me just a few moments because I do have to get to my own platform, but I think there are some important things that need to be shared for everyone's benefit. Okay, Yashar won the debate. Okay, from my perspective, the majority of his stuff was better sourced. He could actually pronounce the majority of the words that he was defending. And I have an issue with people who are attempting to defend subject matters that cannot pronounce the words that they are attempting to use to elucidate and explicate their position. I have an issue with that because what it tells me is that you really don't have a strong command of the information, and you might have a general appreciation for the spirit of what you want to say, But if you can't get that across in an effective way, particularly to someone like myself, then, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you got a lot more work to do. Okay. Yashar's error and mistake, and I didn't see the opening introduction of either person. I don't think I did. So I can't say, I don't judge by rounds. I judge by overall. That's just how I am. I don't go at rounds. I could really care less about rounds. Either your position is correct or your position is wrong. By the very clearly defined patterns that emerge from the available literature, particularly up-to-date literature. See, a lot of times people make the mistake of reading dated literature. And when you read dated literature, you're basically communicating outdated ideas. Okay, so I will give Craig, because I'm going to be fair. I will give Craig credit for one thing that he did in attempting to establish the non-civility of the Tainos. He went for the jugular vein, which was a writing system, which I thought was very strategic on his part. Shout out to him for that. Because I just want to pull something up to really prove a point. All right, so no, civil, not civic. Give me 1 second. Here we go, civil. Okay, that's what I wanted. All right, cool, great. Related private laws, courteous and polite. All right, cool, that's it. All right, so in fields like archaeology, anthropology, particularly epigraphy, which is the study of writing, right? I think a site that you should have gone to really put things into context so that everyone understands was you should have went to what's called the writing site par excellence, which is Omniglot. Omniglot deals specifically with writing, right? So where Yashar went left when he should have went right was a lot of times whether you win or lose a debate or not depends on what hill you want to die on or win on. Yashar chose the wrong hill to win on. He chose writing. That was the wrong hill to win on, right? For the same reason, the Sumerians would lose that debate against the ancient Egyptians as far as who really introduced true writing. And we call true writing, which means it has to relate to a spoken language and have and be able to function in the various functions in which a spoken language functions, right? But here's the thing, and I have to give this to Yashar. It's a point that he, for whatever reason, was unable to make. And this is putting things in context. According to Omniglot, which is, I'm going to ride with Omniglot because it's a really credible site. As far as I'm concerned, it's a credible source. What Omniglot can, I'm going to share. Can I share my screen so everyone can see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because I want to be fair, right? I don't want to seem biased. I really genuinely want to be fair. So I'm looking for Tainos syllabary. That's what I want. Here we go. Okay, Tainos syllabary. Let me see. Let me make sure you guys can see my screen. Okay, you can see it, right? Everyone can see my screen, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Hold on one sec. Okay, great. So it points out something here that's really important, right? One of the things is this. Hello?
I actually went to that source, brother.
Okay.
I got some information. Go ahead, do your thing.
There were some things you should have pulled from it that you didn't. Okay. So let me just say this very quickly because I think it's really important. As I said, you won the debate, but I want to show why you won the debate. Okay. So language. So right here, it says these people talking about the Taino. These people eventually came into contact and fell under the cultural influences of the Maya civilization after they settled in Cuba, which is very close to the Yucatan Peninsula of the Mayas in Mexico. As a result, the ancient Taino adopted a number of Mesoamerican habits and customs that are obviously of Central American and Mexican origin. The ancient Mesoamerican, this is important, the ancient Mesoamerican indigenous people were what? Fully literate. And especially the Mayas had a complete syllabary with which they could express sophisticated ideas, including abstract concepts. It says especially the Mayas, not particularly the Taino. Why? Because when you're talking about the Taino, you're talking about a subset of people. You're not just you're talking about a subset of a larger group, the Arawak, the Mexican, so on and so on, right? And they might be a subset of various groups, okay, if you're looking at the literature. And it says, the ancient Taino, and this is important because it's reflected by the rest of the literature, and especially if you really understand epigraphy, the ancient Taino never reached the level of literacy that their Maya neighbors did. But Miguel believes, and that's the inventor of the language, that given more time, if their land had not been conquered and their culture destroyed by savages, the Spanish followers of Christopher Columbus, they would eventually have adopted elements of the Maya-glyphic system and would have evolved a written language of their own. Why is that important? That is very important because you don't blame a group of people for not achieving what their natural trajectory, which was something that was in sight. You don't blame them for having that interrupted by savages. So the true savages were the Spanish. You don't blame the Taino because savages came in and interrupted their culture and subjected them to savagery. That's just culturally inappropriate, and it's culturally insensitive, and it shows short-sightedness. Okay? So that's number one. The other point that I want to make out why I feel Yashar won, and see, I'm not going to say somebody won and just walk away. The other reason Yashar won is not because of something he said, but from my perspective, it was from something that Ratchet Craig said. And I thought this is very, if you look on his savagery conclusion, in fact, I'm going to share my screen so you can see it, because I don't want people to think I'm making this up. Share the screen. I'm sharing my screen. That should be it. Okay, yeah, share. Okay, can you guys see my screen? It has his thing on it. Savagery conclusion. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look on the bottom, he gives a criteria for what makes them savages. And to me, I think anybody that knows anything about the slash and burn system, which is still used today even in advanced agricultural societies, I think that's a non-starter. You have to get rid of that. You can't use that to describe savagery. I think that's silly. It doesn't denote highly advanced agriculture, but you can't call that savagery because it's still used by civilized civilizations today, right? So, but here's the kicker for me, where he said, if you look at next to the bottom, he says no metallurgy. Now, you don't get to do a do-over when you make a statement like that. You said no metallurgy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again so everyone can see this, because you don't get to make ad hoc statements like that and walk away with a trophy when you are in fact wrong. I think that's inappropriate. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this syllabary. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. Here we go. Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to share this first. What is gold alloy? Okay, yeah, this is important. All right. So I had to do all of this on the fly while I was paying attention to you guys. So let me see. Here we go. All right. So I'm hoping Craig sees this part. All right, so he can learn. All right, this is really important. Can you share? Can you see my screen?
Yes, it should come up.
Okay, you can see the screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hopefully, Craig knows what a gold alloy is. Okay, an alloy of gold with copper, silver, platinum, or other metals added for what? Strength or hardiness. That's science. Okay, that's something that's still done today in scientific labs, right? It was done in Austria. It's been done in Poland. It's been done through most major Western European scientific communities. They still do it today, right? To improve the strength, if you will, of the metal, right? Or the durability of the metal. That's the term that I was looking for. So if you're going to claim that they did not have that, then the one thing that should not be found at Taino archaeological sites, pre-Columbian, mind you, archaeological sites, you should not find any gold alloys because according to Craig, they're savages. So you can't have it both ways. It's either they were savages or they were not. And if they did not have, you can't blame them, again, for let's recap very quickly. You can't blame them for not having a writing system because their natural trajectory, now we're not saying that they invented a writing system, but they certainly started a writing system. And you have to give that to Yashar. They started a writing system with the petroglyphs. And in tandem with that, they adopted certain literary functions from the Maya, who were fully literate. But you don't blame, again, I have to reiterate this, you don't blame the Taino for having their trajectory interrupted, because what that does, when you do that, what you're insinuating that they were incapable of, and that is not borne out by the evidence. You understand what I'm saying? It's incapable. They're incapable of it. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, by the way, for those of you who don't know that. I saw somebody say something about a Hebrew on the screen. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, right? And most people know that most Hebrew Israelites don't like me because I've debated them over the years and I haven't been too kind. So again, you don't blame a group for not achieving something. Simply, that's like calling West African. That's like calling the people that became slaves in America, people who were enslaved in America, savages, simply because of the state you found them in America. Why? Because they were not necessarily in that state in Africa. Their culture was interrupted by the same people who interrupted the Taino culture, the Europeans, the Portuguese and the Spaniards, the very people that Craig named. So, you know, so you don't do that. You can't say they're savage because of this. That doesn't make them savage, right? And if you also, here's the other thing. Craig, this is just quickly an aside before we look at the alloy and then I'm done. Craig invoked Columbus to prove a point. He spoke about Columbus looking for the Garden of Eden and not looking to colonize people. Now, here's my thing. You cannot invoke Columbus and you can't invoke Columbus to prove a point, right? You can't invoke Columbus to prove a point and then dismiss his own testimony. His own testimony, in his own words, in his journal, he said, I believed and still believe that the Caribs come here from the mainland to take the Taino prisoners. And he said that Tainos would be good servants. And look at the last two words he uses. And intelligent. That's Columbus, the very person you have evoked. So you don't get to have it both ways. Columbus, the person who you invoked, Mr. Looking for the Garden of Eden, said that these were intelligent people, the very people you are attempting to describe as savages. Your own source refutes you. That's a very big faux pas in a debate. People like myself, we stay away from stuff like that. We seriously, because a lot of the terminology that you're using, things like savage and so on, these are subjective terms and they're relative. So for you to impose it, your evidence better be very solid and very good. What you're trying to do is you're trying to prove something by the supposed and proposed scarcity or lack of something else. And you failed in that point. Very simply because we proved, or I just simply documented for you, that they were part of a literate society. Their assimilation into that literate society is what people should question. If you could prove that they could not assimilate in that literate society because of something inherent in them, then you have a point. Okay, these people are endemically savage. They can't rise above a certain level. But you didn't prove that point, Craig. You didn't even come close. Not literally, like not even close. So you have to give that to Columbus. Finally, and this is my last point because I have to go to
I gotta ask you a question, brother.
Okay, before you do,
yeah, I'm gonna let you get
before you do, I have no problem with that. Before you do, I want to point out this last thing. So I'm going to share my screen again so that the audience can see this. Here we go. I'm gonna stop sharing screen. Oh yeah, I have to stop sharing screen to reshare. So I'm going to share the screen again.
I'm sorry, my mic was muted, but I was telling you to don't interrupt, Craig.
Okay, so here we go again. I'm going to come back here, right? This is really important, right? This is really, really important. And so, I mean, even if I say that Yashar wins even by a default, just by the fact that his opponent did just such a piss poor job of trying to prove something and establish something that he failed to do. It says here, an alloy of gold with copper, silver, platinum, or other metals added for strength or hardiness, right? So we're talking about gold alloy, right? You should not find gold alloy amongst savages. So let's take a look and let's see if such is the case. Here we go. Share screen, tab, and I think this should be it. Yeah, this is it right here. Here we go, folks. Okay, let me know if you can share my screen and I will continue on. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now I'm just going to go to the very top very quickly. Right? The very top. This is called Metallic Encounters in Cuba. The technology exchange and meanings of metals. What? Before and after Columbus. You did not do your homework. This is from Science Direct. You, Craig, did not do your homework. You specifically used as one of your criteria for savagery, no. You said no. You didn't say a little bit of metallurgy. You said no. I hold people accountable for the words that come out of their mouth. You said no metallurgy. Well, let's take a look at this article. Let's see if we can find alloys. If we find alloys in here, it's a wrap for you in the debate. Right here. Following a brief introduction to the assemblages considered and the methods employed, the results will be structured in groups based on the major metal alloy compositions. Let's go, because it doesn't mention it just once. Hold on one sec. Here we go right here. The earliest known artifact is a small gold alloy sheet found at the site of Mizabel, Puerto Rico, associated to Cedrosan, saladoid, right? And that's the term I think that they use for themselves, saladoid, right? Saladoid material in a context radiocarbon dated when? AD 70 to 374. There was no, Columbus wasn't born yet. His Columbus's great-great-great-grandfather wasn't born yet, and they were working metallurgy. These are the Taino. If you think it's not, then let's type in Taino and to see if they're talking about. Right here. It says it right here, right? The find suggests a long temporal relation with a spectrum of communities of Arabic descent showing different forms of political structuration that archaeologists recognize as part of the Taino culture. You failed, bro. That is plain and simple. You failed. Read the whole article. Go and look at the article. In my classroom, you either pass or fail. I don't do that D-, C- crap. You either pass or fail. You failed. Yashar won. One of the main reasons he also won is the fact that he invoked Columbus's testimony about their character. Because at the end of the day, when you're talking about savagery and civilization, the root word of civilization is civil. And if you go to Oxford Dictionary, stay away from Merriam-Webster because it's pretty much garbage. Go to Oxford Dictionary and look up the word civil, which is the root word of civilization, right? And it corresponds with Columbus's statement. I'm going to pull it up right now. Civil. I'm looking at the word right now in front of you. You should all go to your own dictionaries and look it up, right? Don't abdicate your ability to think for yourself. Look at definition number 2, courteous and polite. That is the exact description Columbus gave them. And in fact, when you look at the term, the other thing that I had a problem with, this is a critique of Yashar. Yashar kept describing the term Taino as an eponym. And I think that does not really capture what the term Taino actually is. It's more of an exonym, okay? To some degree, it's a little bit of both, but it's more of an exonym than it is an eponym. Why? Because the term Taino, if you read the literature, it tells you that it meant good people. But good people in context of what? Good people in comparing and contrasting themselves to the Caribs, because the Caribs had very harsh, aggressive. If anybody was savages, it was the Caribs. It was not the Taino. It was not the Taino. If you listen to the full, especially if you read the full-length description by Columbus, he describes them as intelligent, good-natured, amenable. These are all of the qualities and characteristics of civilized people. How do we know? The root word of civilized is civil, and it means to be polite and good-natured. Look it up. That is the exact spirit and definition that Columbus gave them. right? The mere fact that you find gold alloy in Taino sites throughout Cuba. I think it was something like the percentages were pretty high when contrasting the other islands, that these people were dealing in metallurgy. So you failed to prove your point. The documentation, especially the updated documentation, refutes what you had to say. So you lost the debate. Yashar won it hands down. And I think mostly what Craig exhibited was typical. And sometimes there are a lot of things that we like to dump on white people and talk about white people being biased and culturally biased and elitist. Well, you have to consider, when you look at the definition of the word Taino and go look it up, part of the definition or part of the self-descriptive term meant an elite people. They described themselves as an elite class of people, which is probably why you didn't find a whole lot of strategization or strategizing amongst them, however you want to say it. Right? Or stratification, that's the term. You don't find a whole lot of stratification amongst them because they considered themselves as a group, an elitist group. And so they had a very high opinion of themselves. And it's in that context that they identified themselves to the Europeans as Taino, or they acquiesced to the term, if you will. They yielded to the term and used it probably as a beginning, of a lingua franca term, I guess, something that would help the Europeans understand who they were in contrast to the Caribs. So I just wanted to share these things with you that I think were important and stand out if you were going to really debate the subject matter, and that the Yashar's error was the hill that he chose to die on, which was writing. If it's writing, I'm going to have to give that to Craig, right? That's not the hill to die on. But if it's about being civilized and versus savage, I have to give that 100% to Yashar, 100%. And the whole thing with the late writing system that was invented, that was developed late. It did include elements of the proto writing, but that's a much later development, and a lot can be read into that. So you have to be very careful with giving that, and it's not to take anything away from the Taino. They accomplished enough. First of all, I don't think that, I could be wrong, but if a highly literate civilization such as the Maya, as is described in the literature, identified themselves or sought or felt that the Taino were able to assimilate, I don't think that they would have allowed that process to take place. You follow what I'm saying? They probably would have put something socially in place to keep the Taino at a pre-literate level or at a savage level, but there's no evidence of that. So there's literally no reason to call these people savages at all, other than a misreading of the documentation, or even more importantly, a lack of reading of the relevant and salient literature on the subject matter. And that is my limited, unlearned perspective.
Could I ask you the question now, Brother Shaw?
Yes, you may.
I did give my definition of savagery, right? And from the Oxford Language Dictionary,
right,
it is the condition of being primitive or uncivilized, right? Then I gave civilized from the Oxford Dictionary.
Yes, you did.
A stage of social and cultural development considered to be more advanced.
Mm-hmm. Right. But these are all subjective terms, if you don't mind me interjecting.
Yeah, I know it's subjective,
right.
but that was our terminology of the debate was. But it's here now. I'm good. And I don't mean to, you know what I'm saying? Because you would debate me just a second ago. I was like, God damn, well, I debate Yashar, debate you. So,
Okay, well, I hear what you're saying. You did give the definitions, but even by your definitions, they don't necessarily embrace the Taino. Those definitions don't embrace the Taino.
Well, primitive.
What they are definitions that you are seeking to impose and identify with the Taino, but that's from your perspective. Other minds and I think what I like to consider more well-trained eyes.
You didn't like me to use the word savage.
I beg your pardon?
You didn't like me to use the word savage.
No, it's not that I didn't like you to use the word savagery. It's just that, especially in the field of science, it's very rare that you're going to find scientists using that word.
Yeah,
right?
I know that.
Right, and so therefore, if you're trying to have a legitimate discussion and legitimate discourse about the subject matter, so that so real education can unfold and take place, and thereby everybody benefit, then you should use, I think, appropriate terminology so that it makes sense to advanced minds. You're talking about civilized discourse, and that being identified with advancement, then your language should reflect that. The fact that you would try to use in a proposed advanced argument crude and relatively savage language is kind of it's a backwards hustle academically and intellectually. It's a backwards hustle. So just like Yashar should have taken I think a more insightful approach, like really sometimes you got to really bite down hard when you're trying to prove point. You got to bite down hard. You got to have what I call a blue whale crunch. I mean a killer whale crunch. If you don't have an orca crunch, leave the point alone, right? If you can't go to some immediate literature and go, here, bam, that shut down everything you just said, because that gold alloy alone shuts down all those definitions that you gave from the Oxford Dictionary. You can throw your Oxford Dictionary in the garbage because the gold alloy refutes that. That's science.
Okay. When I say metallurgy, right? They had no tools that they was plowed with. It was a part of their religious beliefs. It wasn't nothing that they used for. They had no pottery made out of it. They just had the earrings. They had the earrings, right? I said that in my thing. They had gold earrings, but it's not metallurgy though.
Well,
it's
I mean,
decoration.
I think in order for you to make a definitive statement about that, the first thing you need to do is you need to go read that article from Science Direct. And when you go throughout the article, if you see what you said reflected in there, okay, you may have an element of a point. But I read the article and I didn't see that in there. What I got from the article is that my thing is this: if they're making, so let's just say forget the practical usage of the metal alloys themselves, right? The mere fact that we're talking about metal, and I'm going to say this is really important. The mere fact that we're talking about metal alloys in the 4th century CE, right? The modern era, 4th century CE. Christopher Columbus's great-great-great-great-grandfather is not born yet, right? So you're basically talking about during Roman times. So during Roman times, what you're finding at these sites that are identified with the Taino in their native terminology for themselves that Yashar used, what you find is the science of metallurgy. How do we know that? Because the gold alloy is there. It's in multiple sites. It's in the article. Read the article, right? You can't undo the article because you have an opinion and a perspective. It's either in the article or it's not. The article is an authoritative source or it's not. And it absolutely is. It's a great study.
Now, what I'm trying to say is, just like I got the concept of proto-writing and petroglyphs not being the writing system.
I think you got that right, and I gave you your credit on it.
Gold alloys is like not metallurgic, right?
That's not
my
true.
concept on it. It's not metallurgy.
Of course, that's metallurgy. Then you don't know what metallurgy is. Then
no, it's not metallurgy because they didn't have that part of their culture. But I get you. It was there. It was present. They used it for some like alloy, like some gold powder. You know what I'm saying? But I get you. I ain't trying to make this no big deal.
Okay, so listen. This is metallurgy. I'm gonna prove you wrong because I'm in the Oxford Dictionary right now. I'm gonna refute you 100%. The branch of science and technology. You heard that? You heard those two words?
Yeah.
Science and technology. The branch of science and technology concerned with the properties of metals and their production and purification. That is how you get metal alloys, bro. You lost that point. Don't die on the wrong hill. Don't commit don't commit Commander Yashar's faux pas. Okay, he died on the wrong hill. Now you look at the jump and die on the wrong hill.
He did a great job. He brought it.
Yeah,
I knew I the one who had the uphill. I the one who did the uphill to get him in the debate because I chose the word savage and I did it on purpose, right?
I think it was a poor decision.
Yeah.
I think it was a poor choice.
But it wasn't about like completely. It was about bringing the attention to the thing, right? When I used the word savage, I ain't want to use no other word but that.
Why? Well, if you don't mind me asking, why exactly did you? I don't have any dog in this race. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not Hispanic or Latino or any of the above. My question to you is, why was it imperative to you to identify them with savages, which is a European term, by the way, and a Greek? Well, it's not good. It's an elitist term.
It's an elitist. And I gave you the definition of savagery, and I was talking to them that was primitive and uncivilized. I told them that and he thought I meant brutal and beating up on people. That's why he went to the.
But there was nothing
cannibal
brutal. There
shit.
was nothing brutal about there was nothing brutal about.
Yeah, I didn't say they was brutal.
Oh, I thought you said they were brutal.
No, he said that. He
Who he
that's
said that the Taino were
savage
brutal?
that I meant. I just meant that they was primitive and uncivilized. I
But
didn't say they
but
was
here's the
brutal,
thing though.
beating
The
up people,
Greeks. Here's
eating
the thing.
people.
Here's the thing, Craig. The Greeks said this. The later Greeks, the Dorics, not the early Greeks, not the Pelasgians, but the later Greeks said the same thing about their teachers, the ancient Egyptians, that they were savage and primitive. Why?
Man.
Because they had finally made a foothold in literacy and wanted to market and promote themselves to the world as the end-all be-all of civilization, which was a historical fabrication and a lie, which is detailed very well in Black Athena and a million other books. So again, that's why I said, to me, if you're going to start an argument and if you're going to get into a fight, it's like a fight in the street, right? You don't like a real skinny dude, unless he got a gun on him, he ain't gonna walk up to a 200-pound Rottweiler kind of dude who could probably crush him with one hand. It's a poor decision, right? So make a good decision when you start a fight. And the good decision is to make sure that your claim is it can be, you can bear witness to it via the historical record.
Okay, what if I would use primitive instead of savage?
It's still primitive compared to who and to what? That's the problem. Because what if there were people around them?
Civilized.
Hold on. What if there were people around them? Because look, if you talk to the Taino, I'm sure they would have felt that they were very civilized. I'm sure they felt that they were good people.
Yeah.
In fact, their name meant good people. So my thing is, here's the thing.
I'm not saying brutal.
Okay, hold on 1 second, bro. Listen to what I'm saying to you. This is really important. If you were the one that wanted to run the dictionaries and encyclopedias. I went to the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah, I went to the Oxford Language Dictionary.
All right, I went to the Oxford Dictionary.
Yeah.
And in Oxford Dictionary, it showed that the root word of civilization, which is civil, is polite and good-natured. The mere fact that the epithet Taino evinces the spirit and the ethos, if you will, the ethics. We're talking about ethics, because that's the real litmus test for civilization. Ethics, right? It makes no difference if you can read and write and you have all the science in the world, but you're inhumane. How civilized are you really? That's just a technocracy. That's not civilization. In order for it to be civilization, as Dr. Ivan Van Sertima of Rutgers University used to always say, the root word is civil. Or Dr. John Henry Clark of City College and Hunter College of State University of New York used to say, the root word of civilization is civil. The very epithet, which is an exonym, which became identified with the Saladoy people, which meant good people, is proof positive of what the consensus was historically about these people, that they were good-natured people. So my thing is this: if there's nobody in antiquity calling them savages, if there's nobody in antiquity even calling them primitive, if there's no one in antiquity do that, then with all due respect, don't pardon my language, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to come along and say these are savages?
We debating our points, brother. I
understand that. I understand that. I'm just trying to I'm trying to introduce for the wider listening audience what I like to do, because we're talking about advanced thinking. We're talking about it's all about advancement, and you're identifying that with being civilized.
Yeah,
so
I never was talking about their good nature.
Right.
I wasn't talking about how Christopher Columbus.
Hold on.
How Christopher Columbus thought about it.
Say it again.
I never brought up how Christopher Columbus thought about them and called them.
No,
I was strictly off my definition of primitive, uncivilized, and advanced.
But look, in scholarship, you have to be very careful with myopic thinking. You have to be very careful with myopic thinking. You understand what I'm saying? You can't do that in scholarship, because if you're sitting at a round table full of real scholars, somebody with a slighter high IQ is going to knock your point way out the box. And you're going to sit there quiet for the rest of the meeting. Don't put yourself in that position, right? So you're trying to stick to a literal definition of. I have no problem with your definition. You went to the definition of savage, right? I didn't see you pull up primitive, but I saw you bring up
primitive
savage.
and uncivilized.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what it was. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that in there. But
Yeah.
if you just deal with savagery alone, again, there's nothing in the historical record attesting to. If you look at what you did, which I saw the majority of your presentation, what you did was you described very neutral descriptions of who these people were and what they did. Oh, well, they did this kind of fishing, they did this kind of farming, and blah 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 blah. But none of that spoke to their none of it spoke to their intelligent quotient. None of it spoke to their capabilities, either then or now. It just said that for all you know, those could have just been preferences for ecological reasons. And you don't. And so if you're not going to even bring in the ecological impact on what influenced their choices, you're still hanging out of the ship, bro. You're out of the space, floating with a tether.
I did do that with the animals, the ecological, what type of animals they had.
Right. You named some animals that, I mean, again.
They didn't have the livestock.
You said they didn't have livestock.
Yeah, they ain't had no livestock.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. They didn't have livestock. Let me ask you this, which would be pastoralism. Did they have agriculture? Yes or no?
Agriculture include livestock.
Yes. Well, it does. It does. And pastoralism would be a form of that. But my question to you is: did they have
did the
Taino have agriculture? Yes or no?
Did they cultivate the land? That's what you saying?
Did they have agriculture? Yes or no?
No, they didn't have no agriculture. Well,
you said they didn't have agriculture. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I looked at the evidence, and it speaks about the type of agriculture that they practice.
Yeah, shifting agriculture. That's what I said.
But it's a form. It's a form of. You said, hold on. You said shifted what?
Agriculture. It's really shifting cultivating
agriculture.
So it's really called shifting cultivating.
But
based off,
bro, you said
it's an early form of.
I'm not look, bro. I gotta go platform. I have to go to. I'm not gonna stay here.
Okay. That was up, Shaka.
At the end of the day,
you judge. I want to have this conversation, see what you was thinking, though.
I appreciate that. So I shared my perspective with you. With me, I always say like this: I don't have the last word. You don't have the last word. The evidence and the documentation has the last word. I showed you gold alloy metallurgy, which you then tried to come on here in front of everybody and say wasn't metallurgy, and you gave a false definition of what metallurgy was. I'm not the only one here listening to this conversation, and I went to the Oxford Dictionary. If you want, I'll share my screen. Would you please? I'm going to share my screen because I want everybody to see this. This is really important.
You want to show your screen? Go ahead.
Hold on, I'm about to show my screen. Yes, I am. Yeah. And then I got to go do what I got to do. So here we go. Right? I'm going to share my screen. Hold on one sec. Share screen. StreamYard. There we go. Right? So do you see my screen, everyone? I have the dictionary open, Oxford Dictionary. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. It says, first let's deal with the word civil, right? Look at definition number 2, courteous and polite. So now we have to ask ourselves.
Shaka.
Were the Taino courteous and polite? Right? Can you guys see my my screen?
No, we don't see the definition. We can see the screen, but we just see.
All right, that's not a problem. You know what? I could do it like this. I don't even need to do that. Hold on. Share screen. Okay, that should do it right there. Okay, can you see my dictionary? Open. Can you see my desktop?
Yes, gotcha.
Okay, you can see my desktop. You can see the messy desktop I have. See this? New Oxford American Dictionary. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to look at the root word of civilization. Look at definition number 2, courteous and polite. I want you to see that because that's important. It doesn't make a difference. So if you want to say that they were civilized, primitive people, okay, I don't have a problem with that, but they're still civilized, right? They want to be, so you can be primitive and civilized at the same time. So apparently being civilized or civilization is not the exclusive property of those people who are advanced. So that should be a lesson for all of us. That's number 1. But let's look at the other one. The other one, what was the other word that we were going to look at a moment ago, which brought me back here? Because anyone remind me, because there was something else I wanted to look at. It was civil. And what was the term? All right, come on. Nobody's going to help me here? All right, that's all right. I can't remember. Nobody can remember? My mind moves pretty quickly. But we were talking about,
silver.
What was it?
Being silver. The word definition silver. what silver is.
No, we weren't talking about the definition of silver. But in any event,
you said metallurgy or something.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm going to go back to that. That's what that was, right? So I'm going to share my screen, and here we go, right? So can you all see my screen? It should say, here we go. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
All right. See what this word is? Can anybody tell me what this word is?
Metallurgy.
Thank you. It says the branch of science and technology. So the first step, we're dealing with science and technology. Fuck a writing system. We're dealing with science and technology, which, by the way, precedes writing. Okay? The branch of science and technology concerned with the properties of metals and their production and purification. Now, I'm sorry, brother. You don't have to like it. But the mere fact that the Science Direct article is a super long article that I didn't even go into. I just took you to gold alloys in the article. Go read the article. Here, I'll put the link in the chat so everybody can have it. I don't have to teach you to beat you. I do this, bro. Like, I really, really do this. I do this for my bread and butter, for real, right? So here you go, all right? I just put the link in the chat for everybody to read, and you can determine for yourself. Don't abdicate your right to think for yourself. Don't let other people think for you. Sometimes people can say things that'll sound real good, or what they're doing for the most part is they're using your ignorance to bolster their what I call faux or pseudo premises. They're basically obsolete and meaningless when you have a good command of the subject matter, or if you have good reading comprehension, and if you understand the terrain that you're dealing with. Like I said, there's no serious scientist that would use words like savages, certainly not in the context that Craig has tried to use. Like I said, to me, in the equation between the Taino and the Portuguese, it's the Portuguese that are the savages. They're well-dressed savages if you like that style of dress. I personally don't. I think the Tainos dressed better. That's my personal opinion. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, again, when you're using subjective terms to try to establish concrete premises, you're on a slippery slope and you're in quicksand that nobody can save you from. And 9 times out of 10, not even yourself, because I think the alloy article absolutely refutes you. Columbus's testimony crushes your premise if you're dealing with the word civilization. And the mere fact, and not only that, the fact that they were part of, and here's the thing, this is borne out by the Omniglot article. The Taino were part of a highly literate culture, which was the Maya. They were part of that culture. They were a subset of it. That's in the literature. You want to argue with the literature, argue with the literature. That's not Shaka Amos. That's the literature. So if a highly advanced or highly literate culture saw fit to include them, I don't think they were walking around looking for people like the people in Papua New Guinea. Not that, you know, the Aztec and the Maya and the Olmec, every group has this share of, if you want to say, savagery. Right? We're no different. We got in fact, if in popular culture today, how does a young black dude identify himself as a real man? I'm a savage. And don't they say that today? Ooh, that was savage. That nigga's a savage. So what's your point? Really, what is the point? If you're trying, my thing is this. As a real scientist, if you have a real point, first stop, don't dehumanize people unnecessarily. Right? I don't mean to be a social justice warrior in that context, but the reason why you don't want to do that is because you can fool yourself about the people you're describing. I'll give you an example. Like I subscribe to Kemetic history and culture. Everybody knows that about me. Ancient Egypt, you can see the cot on my head, but the Kemetic community doesn't like me because I'm honest about ancient Kemet. They tried to romanticize it. They try to make it seem like it was this, they were perfect people. They never did anything wrong. And that's bullshit. That's a lot of bullshit. They brought some of the worst injustices to planet Earth, more so than any culture that's ever been since. The only reason we even have a vertical economic system is because of ancient Egypt. That's why you have the have and the have-nots. That's why you have the rich and the poor. Prior to that, it was a horizontal economic system. Everybody had something. It was ancient Egypt that made that advancement. So you have to be careful about cheerleading your point just to prove a point. Either it's reflected by the evidence or it's not, bro. And so from my perspective, nobody else has to share my opinion. From my perspective, because I go with the literature, and the literature refutes what you said. I don't see primitive people dealing in science and technology, or maybe primitive people did. See the term primitive is, again, primitive compared to who? To what? It's relative. The bottom line is they were dealing with science and technology. So if you're dealing with science and technology, then you have to ask yourself, if a group of people are dealing with science and technology, they're either advanced or they're primitive. Which one is it? See, it's all about how you frame things. You have to be careful about framing things, because when you allow people to frame the picture, they don't have to turn the picture upside down. All they have to do is turn the frame upside down, and that will move the picture on its own. So you can't frame it for me. I have a brain that works excellently well. It gets a lot of carbs and a lot of protein. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I make sure of that. So, and I don't abdicate I go for it's not about, oh, I'm in love with my opinion, because I guarantee you, had you, Craig, come with some really solid literature that reflected what it was that you were trying to get across, I would have out of hand said, because I don't know either one of you. I don't know Yashar, never seen him before, never met him before. In fact, I don't even like the name, because I had bad experience with somebody named Yashar before. I never met him, but I heard this guy was talking a lot of smack about me. So, I'm not a fan of Hebrew Israelites. They know that. And that alone should really tell you I'm coming from a very genuine place. I don't know this dude. I've never seen him before a day in my life. The only person I know here is who invited me, and that's Too Shy, Ivory, sister, the queen. That's it. I don't literally know anybody else on this platform, right? And in fact, I was supposed to be on my platform hours ago. Canceled it today just so I'll be ready for this, because I just want to do right by the sister, because I think that what she's doing is good. She's allowing Black people to exercise their intellectual muscles, whereas white people, they always want to present us another way. They wouldn't even think we spend our time like this. They probably think we're out in the street trying to hunt them down or something, because of it's about how you see things. You understand what I'm saying? But look at what we're here doing. We're having intellectual discourse, but you have to be intellectually honest. And I thought that what you did was you took terms that are very subjective, and you really, really went to great effort to impose it on a group of people that I personally don't think deserve it or fit the criteria. Not if you're going with historical, like I said, I'm not Taino. I don't give a shit about the Taino. I'm not Taino. I don't, don't get me wrong, my adopted brother is Puerto Rican. Right? I love him. So in that aspect, okay, shout out to the Taino. But he literally, my adopted brother is Puerto Rican. He's an MMA fighter. But I don't care. If they're savages, they're savages. But let it be reflected by the evidence. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that that's a lot to ask. So to me, you failed to prove your point. That's just it. I have to give it to Yashar that's how we're absolutely civilized. Just look at, they say you're judged by the company you keep, right? So the Omniglot article absolutely documented that they were a subset of the Maya, that they adopted the Maya culture, they assimilated in the culture, so on and so on. So if you're judged by the company you keep, and the company you're keeping is an advanced, literate civilization, then you got to extend that to the Maya. Why do you think so many have found it worthwhile to resurrect their culture? Because it was a worthwhile culture to resurrect. If they were savages and that primitive, I don't think anybody, not even their so-called descendants, I don't think that they would be going to such great lengths to resurrect something that has no value. So apparently there was something of value there. And in all old cultures, the first thing they tell you is the greatest value is a good name. And if the name of these people meant good people, end of discussion. I'm out. Peace. Love to everybody.
All righty. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we will be back with another informative video.
Shalom, family. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you to all the judges. I appreciate y'all time. I appreciate y'all ears. I hope y'all took some notes. I hope y'all learned something from both of us. Tanks on the ground, source up, motivated focus, Yap Tribe.